Yada munyina ase sebrene do nya munya dade na mo hwe ye ho se yesom nananum nti no ene so ye de niam afoforo ne de ebremo ebra krobia refi asante kotoko hene bedi ade se wo Asantehene anase wo foro eye abanwa no e wo afia pem hankono ediokono enkunumu no o hye bopi ne niam ahodo pia o hye se obeye ede ama Asantema de edi kan ye puntu de to so bio ya Asantema nkabomu ena afenso ye wiase man nyina enkabomu ena do sa hye ho bobi se obehwe ama ba bia Asantema nkro nyina ati akamu a na se bio son se be nyado omo bibi ntino omo tekemu no obehwe se obeka omo nyina abumu no asade obi aye de abefie ananse mu ye huhu popo ye se omo ebefie mako na ebe mfie aduonu enum ni aye ro Asantehene bedi ade se wo Asantehene no a enche wo beko ni mfie aduonu ensie mu no ye hu sebio so sebio nyado wa ye interview ne da esanse wuntimi enkotena nanimu na one ne di nkomo Jesus sebio so sebio nyado Asantehene ye ntoto na no na imom esanse nanum asem eye mmara na nanum asem ye ogane ntino o twen ma wonyina kasa wi ansa na nanum asem ayede atoso onya de to so wi a aye mmara ebre edikan kra ye Asantehene eye sebi oma ho kwan ma nzemtweni eno no edi nkomo efa na hene hu ebra na oba bedi ade se Asantehene wa afia wo mfimpim afia pem ahankono ediokunu nkunumu no wone yensem training panyi pa yira kwakusachi ado ene de yisa hankomwe momyenkotie ne ehwe zero Asantehene sede osi eyi ne nsema no efa na so momyenkotie Asantehene emra.
Tens of thousands of people, Asantes, curious and admiring Ghanaian, non-Asantes, Europeans, Americans, Australians and fellow Africans stormed Kumasi to see a sight that will probably not be seen for at least another generation. It was the coronation of the 16th Asantehene, the transformation of Bema Kwekudua into Utumfo Oseitu II, the metamorphosis of the royal to king. The sight of the new Asantehene wearing the 300-year-old Batakarikasia, the battle dress, was simply awesome. And watching him roll down the streets of the city in his gleaming black chrome-gilded Rolls Royce as his people shrieked and wailed and waved and cried, told a story of Ghanaian and African majesty, a tough and tested political system that has survived slavery, has survived colonialism, and has survived post-colonial militarists. So what's the magic with the Asante Kingdom? What is it about Menchia that makes you almost feel compelled to take the sandals off your feet when you merely think about it? Where did it all start? And where is it heading? What will it leave with the 20th century? And what will it take along into the next 100, 200, 300 years? And who, by the way, is Bema Kwekudua, now Utumfo Oseitu II? We'll get some insight into the man, and we'll hear an interview he granted me, and which was recorded in his final hours as a private citizen on March 31st. Nana Kwekudua, congratulations.
Thank you, Kwekudua.
Nana, now you have a 300-year-old empire and about 4 million subjects at your feet. Are you nervous?
Certainly not. That's a great challenge to me. I cannot see how I should be nervous.
Did you imagine that this day will come?
The answer should be two. I think I'll give you two answers here. No and yes. No, because I never even knew that my dear brother was going to die for me to come to this stage. And yes, he died, and that obviously, if I was a contestant, then I knew I was going to get to this stage also. So yes, I knew I was going to get to this stage.
You'll miss the life of a regular person, though, won't you?
Certainly, that's a challenge. If you want to be the king of Ashanti, then it means you're going to miss all the good lives and the regular life of everybody anyways. You're not being an ordinary person now. You're going to be the king for over nearly 4 million people. And therefore, certainly, you're going to miss the life of a regular person.
I'm sure you had friends whose homes you could just walk to in the evening and go and have a drink or have a chat. All of that is over now.
I'm afraid they would have to accept that.
Do you sometimes in your quiet moments think back and say to yourself, what have I gotten myself into?
Certainly not, because it's a challenge. You're born a royal, you're from this or your royal family. So certainly you know if you comported yourself well, one day you'll be the king of Ashanti. That being the case, you knew the challenges facing you. And therefore that's how I find myself now. And I believe I know the challenges facing me and I'm ready for that.
Your mother is the Queen Mother. She nominated you. She nominated you over 6 or so other candidates. Is that fair?
My mother certainly did not nominate me because I was her son. But I believe through her consultations with the other divisions of the Kumasi Traditional Council, i.e. the Jasi, Manre, and Cobra, Ankobia, and then Nkoso, they must have come to the agreement and the certainty that amongst the contestants, maybe Nana Kwekudua should be the right choice. And certainly that was the decision they took. And that's why, singularly, it was her responsibility, her duty to name me, but I believe the consensus was among the whole divisions together with her. So it wasn't her personally who nominated me, but it was through the consensus and discussions among the 4 divisions of the Traditional Council and her and the Busiampeni and the other members of the royal family. Let me clarify this. This is an issue that I have always wanted to clarify. I believe I was nominated on my own merit instead of that qualification of being the son of the Queen Mother. And I believe the other divisions like Ankobia, Manre, Jasi, and Nkoso are not my fathers to say that they are also going to be biased towards me. They must have also have a sense of judgment, and I believe they put all this into consideration before coming to the conclusion that I should be the nominee. But that is not to say that the other nominees were not capable, competent. I have the greatest respect for them. They are all my nephews, short of one who is more my direct cousin. The others were virtually all my nephews. I've had the greatest respect and affection for everybody. They were men of quality, substance, and everything. But unfortunately, in all this, there was bound to be just one person who should be nominated. Unfortunately, by God's grace, it was me. And that is basically how it happened. Not that my mother, the fact that she was the Queen Mother, she chose to be biased, not fair, and nominated Nana Kwekudua.
And how will you relate to the other contestants who had their eye on the stool that you now sit on?
To be honest with you, even today, I've made the effort to contact almost all of them. I've seen 1, 2, I've made the effort to see a couple of them. In fact, contacts have been made. And I look forward to seeing all of them, discuss, have a meeting with them, let them appreciate the fact that it is not a winner-takes-all here. But to build it together, I need their support, encouragement, their talents, their experiences and everything. After all, they are all members of the royal family of Ashanti, and they are all my nephews also. Some of them who are younger, if I'm gone, maybe can take over. If not them personally, children, brothers, younger ones from amongst them could take over. So So why not? We build together what we have. They would have to appreciate the fact that there was only one winner. And this time it wasn't a winner, but there was only one nomination here, and that was Nana Kwakudua. The rest are also part of the system, and we're going to be building a very good empire, a very good Ashanti nation together to assist in the development and everything together. After all, some of these my nephews are doctors, some of them are quantity surveyors, some of them are the various professions, and we need all these people in terms of developing Ashanti. So why can't I tap their expertise and everything? I definitely need all of them, and I'm going to carry them along with me.
Nana, what was your childhood like?
It's quite interesting. I started with my uncle, who adopted me virtually. He picked me up at the age of 4 or 5. I don't know why he chose to do that. And I lived with him. He brought me to school. I remember having done the entrance examinations, and I had qualified for Prempeh College. He drives me to the school and verifies from the then headmaster. This is my nephew, I want you to come here. And the headmaster, being very appreciative of the fact that, there are so many other royals here, he decided not to let me go to school there at all. Why? Because he doesn't want me to mingle, to meet the other royals, and he wanted me to be brought up, not with a silver spoon in my mouth as it was being published, but to go through it the hard way, be very independent, be brought up in a very civilized, in all humility. These are sort of things, these are the childhood upbringers that he wanted me to be very independent and be.
And this uncle was also a chief. He was a paramount chief.
He was also a chief of the Kumasi Chidom division, of blessed memory, in whom I'm well pleased. I owe everything that we're doing now to him, and when I look back, I trust that he brought me up in a very proper manner that I cherish now.
I understand that he brought you up in the traditions, the real pure traditions of Ashanti.
Quite true. Imagine he took me to live at Sefirios in the western region. I lived with the Sefirios of Mahine. That was an exposure that gave me quite an experience, because I wouldn't have known that part of the world at all. Living in the court of the Sefirios of Mahine, learning the intricacies, the traditional aspects of life in the palace, at the same time going to school. And I must say that that broadened my knowledge of the whole Ghana, for example, because the western region is some part that people don't even know particularly. I still have cherished those moments, and I still have very good friends there. Nana Kwakudua, for example, was a father to me. He was an uncle to me. He also took care of me before. On several vacations, he never even allowed me to come to Kumasi. I lived with him there, and you could imagine, an Ashanti living in Seshi, and then, relating to the Seshis and all those things, and that gave me a very good insight of people there, their behavior and everything, and I respect and cherish them very much. These are some of the attributes, some things that I gained that some of my relations never gained. A clear understanding of life was the other side of Ashanti.
Nana, I understand that when you were young, Nana Prempeh II, who was the Asantehene at the time, performed a certain ritual which meant that you would one day become the occupant of the golden stool. Is this true? Tell me about it, Nana.
Certainly, I was too young to know, but I've been told about it. And so it's not something that I could comment in detail.
What kind of relationship did you have with his successor, that is Otumfuo?
He was my brother, and we got on very well. He took very keen interest in my development, actually. When I was in London, for example, he would come to know, he would want to know how I'm doing, what I'm doing, and all those things. And he would always be highly elated if he realized that, especially when I was admitted to the Institute of Personnel Management. He came to London and he realized that. And he called very close friends of his, and then the first thing, let's thank God, Koku has been admitted to the Institute of Personnel Management. That sort of thing, the affection, the love. And we had very close contact together in terms of discussing various well-being. He would call me in to say that, look, these are some of the things going on, these are some of the intrigues going on. I'm not being told the truth about certain things. He would deliberately come up with some issues for us to discuss, just the two of us. And he always wanted my honest opinion, and he cherished my opinion. He would always call through some people to say, you want to call Coco for me? And if I came, he said, I think these are issues that I was thinking of. If you're here, then let's discuss them. And he would always come back to say, I think you told me the truth. That was the relationship I had with him. And I remember one time he came to London when I was working with the Manpower Services Commission. And he didn't want me to let them know that he was a tomb for the Asantehene, but he wanted to have a feel what was going in my office. So he decided that I should pick him up at 2 o'clock in my own car with just one person in the car. And we drove to my office. He says to me, don't let them know I'm Otumfo. Let's go around and look around the office and all those things. But then he was very keen to know what I do in that office. And when they confirmed to him that I was a personnel administrator responsible for the various job descriptions and training programs and all those things, he kept it to himself. He didn't comment whilst we were in the office looking around. When I came back later on in the evening, he said, now I know you can design training programs and job description for people, so I'm going to let you design that for the Mensia Palace. And that is him, my brother, and that was the relationship that we had. I had a very good relationship with the wife, the late wife, Nana Ekwe also. She was so dear to me.
Did you tell your staff the following day who the visitor was?
I did when I went back to the office the next day, yes.
What was their reaction?
They were all amazed. They said, oh dear, why didn't you let us know? Because we could have taken some photographs, we could have been a picture of the century or something. And they then were requesting if they could have a picture of him, but they never had another chance of meeting him again, because he left for Ghana and he never met them again.
You also studied, apart from studying in the UK, you also studied, in fact, before you went to the UK, at the IPS, Institute of Professional Studies. Are there any classmates you remember that you'd like to invite to mention?
I certainly have met quite a lot. They came back. People could remember my days over there, and I've met quite a lot of them. They've been very supportive, and they've come up with quite a number of encouraging words. I had a call from Nana Kokoto, who is also an accountant now. He remembers our days at the IPS. I was so amazed. They said, oh yes, I remember you. And they said, yes, now I'm also a chief. I said, okay, fine. Then that's a good team that we're going to build here. And that's basically some of the things I remember. I know I'm going to meet quite a lot of them. And we lost touch because I've been away for quite some time and then came back. But I know I'm going to meet quite a lot of them. IPS is an institution that if I had the opportunity, maybe I establish an endowment fund for them in terms of establishing a chair.
And I have here some congratulatory messages. This one is from the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Kofi Annan, and he says, I just learned with great pleasure of your installment as King of the Asante Kingdom. I congratulate Your Majesty and wish you long life and good health. I have no doubt that as we enter the 21st century, your wise and enlightened leadership would inspire us all to rededicate ourselves to achieving peace and prosperity, not only in our region, but for humanity as a whole. The Asantehene Council was most eminent in its wisdom and far-sightedness in endorsing the nomination by Nana Efua Kobi II for Your Majesty to lead us at this crucial moment in history. Yours sincerely, Kofi Annan, signed in ink. And there's one from the Ivory Coast. He came from Nana Anuble III. He's the king of the Baolis, whose roots came from Asante. And it's in French. I'll just read one sentence. C'est avec une très grande joie que nous avons appris votre désignation à la tête du puissant royaume Asante du Ghana. And it goes on and on and on. I'll just simply translate that. I don't translate too much French on Fridays. It's with great joy and happiness that we heard of your that we heard of your designation or appointment as the head of the Ashanti royal family of the Ashanti Kingdom, and it goes on. It's quite a long fact because obviously they are excited. And that's from Nana Anumble III, Roi de Bauli, the king of the Baulis.
And something yan year Asantehene poto no akano. Nanin some so kind in your so a being one was serious on Serbia had year Asantehene, where ye free na henny moon or buy no. Or do see your then someone what kind yes or bar or be in your nano, or the Indian answer so egua quemwa, why in a sound so pepe. Meeting at the mammy foods, which you don't put your coupon yadum, Yevishia, Macram.